My dog literally just killed a mouse, and I had to clean that mess up. The poor thing can't even go to the bathroom, and a little field mouse came scurrying along, and she went, and I had to clean up that little mess. So that's why I was late. What's up, people? TGI time, survive. How we doing, people? Thank you very much for everything. We have a jam-packed Friday night. I got a lot of good cases. I have an awesome guy that can't decide whether to plea, and then the judge says, "Let's get it going," and he decides to plea, and then we hear the charges and what he did, and whoa, that is our main event. But first, let's get a little Judge Fluffy. Let's roll.
Respond, and then Mr. Miller, you'll have a chance to respond to Ms. Young, and then I'll make a decision on that. Okay. So tell me why you feel a motion or an order of contempt should be.
Because Ms. Young has obligations to her daughter and she's not fulfilling them at all. She's had multiple opportunities to reach out to help with everything, and she hasn't done that. Taylor's about Taylor. Taylor doesn't care about her daughter or fulfilling needs for her daughter or trying to help her daughter. Taylor doesn't even have a job, for one, so she really can't support herself or her daughter. And, you know, I've been supporting Malaya now for over 2.5 years, okay? And she's been living with me. And I also want to put on the record that that packet that Miss Young turned in, completely false. For one, she doesn't state, and the sad thing is that she has an attorney that's helping her. The attorney can't be that smart because she doesn't ask the simple questions of the facts of, oh, me and Miss Young were together. No, me and Miss Young haven't been together for over 7 years. For all you know, Your Honor, you know, we just got done last week in a relationship. False, okay? The other thing is with child support contacting her, Miss Young says that they haven't. False. I just got a letter in the mail yesterday stating that they're asking me how to get a hold of Miss Young. How do we find Miss Young? Because Taylor does not respond. Miss Young does not go in to the post office and collects her packets that, you know, I turn into the courts. I send to her mother's house. I send to Miss Young's house. I have officers try to serve Miss Young. Taylor does not care. And quite frankly, I'm done. I like, if she wants to go play around with some lawyers, well, I'll go get a big time lawyer too, and it will be done. Because like, I'm not about it for me no more. It was never about me. Like, Taylor is about her. This is about my daughter and what my daughter needs and what my daughter deserves. My daughter doesn't deserve somebody who does not care about her well-being or care about her needs or cares about her financial areas or where she's living or what, you know. I'm done. I'm ready to get it done and move on. That's all I got to say.
What are you asking the court to do?
Hold her in contempt because she has not done what she is supposed to be doing.
And what I understand from your motion, you've indicated she hasn't provided school clothes. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. She quit her job.
Correct.
She did not follow the parenting plan by administering the medication.
Correct.
Okay. You indicated on 6 occasions that you've determined she did not give the medication to Malaya.
Malaya.
Correct. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Ms. Young, would you like to respond?
Yes. Actually, Your Honor, I do have a job. When he went for child support, I was a jack in the box and I got a new job. He just didn't know that. I am fully employed. I have
Jack
lived in my apartment
box.
for a year now, and I do take care of Malaya. The problem is I'd send her with clothes and stuff, and they wouldn't be returned. So I would constantly be buying her new stuff. I asked for them to return her stuff, and they refused to. So I stopped sending her home with clothes because they weren't being gave back to me. And so I said, okay, then when she's with you, you have her clothes. When she's with me, I have her clothes. I've never kept anything from her. I've never
Amarillo.
not taken care of her. Cameron keeps her from me. All these things he's saying he's doing. I want to be in my daughter's life 100%. He refuses to let me. And he hasn't always provided the medication. I have text messages of us trying to get her meds, and he refused to give them to me. I already didn't feel comfortable with him, so we went for my grandfather, my mother, my uncle. We were all willing to get the medication, and he refused. And then they just didn't respond. Then there's also much where Samantha said that it's okay for her to not have them for 2 days. She'll be fine over the weekend when they forgot the meds. So now I'm under the impression, so it's okay for them to forget meds.
Welcome, Tina.
But when I did not give them to her one time because she was having a mental breakdown. And I told them that. I was like, she told me that they forced me down her throat. I wasn't going to do that. So I didn't give them to her that morning.
John Hart.
But other than that, I do give them to her. We talk to my stepmom on the phone. She helps us. She hates them, but she definitely takes her medication. It's true I don't agree with it, but she does take her medication. And he hasn't had her the last 2.5 years.
Are you willing to follow
Glad you're okay, Dr.
doctor's
Dan.
orders on the medication?
Yes.
Thanks for coming on a Friday.
Mr. Miller, any response to?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got a response. Okay, so that medicine that she's just now talking about, where they tried to contact us to meet up with us, she's lying, okay, under oath again, because when I originally put all of this paperwork in, that's when Taylor kept my daughter from me for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That's at the beginning of all of this, Your Honor. That's in black and white paper. Because that's where the restraining order came into play. That's how I got the restraining order on Taylor and with Malaya because of child neglect. Okay, that's how that happened. And I don't keep my daughter from Miss Young. When we first broke up in 2016 or 15, when Malaya was 3, Taylor was the first one to play that keep away game. I don't play the keep away game, okay? And Malaya has lived with me for 2.5 to 3 years. I've already been in Cowlitz County for 2 years. I've lived with Malaya at my girlfriend's house, at her father's house in Napavine, Lewis County for a year with my daughter. That's 3 years running, going on 3.5 now, okay? Malaya has gone to school down in Cowlitz County for 2 years. My timelines are adding up. Miss Young is completely wrong, okay? Her attorney is not asking her the right questions, it doesn't seem like. The other thing is,
What's up, Jody?
what else
What up,
was there?
Jenny, Rachel, Lisa.
What else
B.
did she say?
Does Miss Young see Malaya now?
Every other weekend, because you guys, as your courts, ordered that. There was the other judge, the other male judge who was doing our case. That's why he offered every other weekend, is because he felt as though Taylor was putting Malaya in harm's way. He granted my no contact order. He granted everything because I came with the right documents. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And quite frankly, on docket, I'm not lying. Miss Young, under oath, is lying to the judge and to her lawyer. Flat out about it. And Miss Young knows she's lying. That's the sad part. Because Because if I was lying, I wouldn't have a solid case. I wouldn't have a solid case at all. And I'm pretty confident that my case is solid.
Okay.
Tend to believe Dad.
The other judicial officer was
Close the
Commissioner
chat.
Cotterell, who
Yes, Your
did
Honor.
those
Yeah.
orders. All right, I've looked at the file and at the motion. Mr. Miller has brought a contempt motion indicating that Ms. Young has not provided school clothes, that when she was
That's what it was.
to support Malaya, she quit her job. She hasn't followed the parenting plan, and a particular concern is that she has not given the ADHD medication. And as she indicated here, she doesn't agree with that. She disputes whether the indication that she did not give it. I'm going to deny the motion at this point, and the reason is I did not see a child support order in the case, that there's no specific order relating to medication. She's given, I think, joint authority over healthcare issues, but to read that to mean that she absolutely has to give certain medications, I think that would be overly broad at this point. There's no tax exemption order, and there's nothing in the temporary restraining order about contact through third parties, which was another issue. So what the reason I'm denying it is I don't think there's any orders that require what Mr. Miller says should have been happening. I do think Mr. Miller's order does raise issues that should be clarified going forward. Okay, so I'm going to do that so that everybody is on the same page at this point. So first of all, if a physician has ordered medication, whether it be ADHD or any medication, then Malaya is to be given that medication, whether she's with the father or the mother. Okay, and if from this point on there's evidence that Ms. Young is not providing that medication, then that would subject her to a contempt order. Okay, I'm going to allow, this was not clear, but I'm going to allow contact through third parties between the parties. I think a lot of times I will indicate that a protection order or restraining order prevents somebody from contacting the other party directly or indirectly. So that would include third parties. But here there needs to be some way to communicate regarding the transfer of the child and other issues. So I'm going to allow contact through third party. And finally, there were issues, comments made about disparaging remarks made to the child regarding the other parent. I'm going to prohibit that being done in front of the child.
That's wrong, no matter how bad each parent is.
The parents cannot, for lack of a better term, badmouth each other in front of the child.
Get them fluffy.
Going forward. Okay. So those are the three things I'm going to put in place today. I'll do a bench order to that effect.
Commissioner, can I add one thing, please? Can you, with the medication that's a controlled substance, such as the ADHD medication, that father is required to?
I'm not required to give you guys that information. No, I am not.
Let her finish. Okay, Ms. Lepker, go ahead.
Thank you. That he is required to provide that medication for mother's visits. And if he doesn't, then he needs to make arrangements to get it to her in order for her to give the medication.
Okay, so I do send my daughter with medication. You should probably ask your person right there that when that was, when she decided to take my daughter out of her home 3 weeks prior to school. You must not be that good of an attorney.
Okay, so
I need to go. I need to go, please.
I'm going to add
That ain't
that if you
screwing.
expect, well, if the doctor has ordered medication and it needs to be administered during Miss Young's visitation, that will be provided to her.
It is provided with my daughter to Malaya every other week, and my daughter goes there.
I'm not deciding that or even disputing that. I'm just saying that's going to be part of the requirement going forward.
Okay, and I want to put on record that I am not required to give the name of the medication to her mother. I'm not required to do that, and I'm not required to let Taylor go to Malaya's doctor's appointments. I'm not
Excuse me, Your
required.
Honor.
I don't know if that's true. What I believe I saw the
The
parenting
restraining
plan.
order. How is she supposed to go with the restraining order? That don't work.
Well, that may prevent it, but I think the parenting plan does not prevent that.
No, you're right.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to enter these orders as we've discussed.
I got one more question.
Go ahead.
Where's her attorney practice at?
Her attorney is what's called a limited license officer, who, you can look it up. Ms. Lepker, do you want to disclose where you practice?
I have. He's already received my documents, but I practice with the law firm of Andrews, Terry, and Jeffers in Vancouver. And I'm happy to send you over
I
published
already got it.
information. Okay, thank you.
He's a jerk.
Okay.
I
All right, I think that's it for today. Thank you,
I love
everyone.
All right,
Thank you, Your Honor.
people. Next clip up. SeaTac has struck again. Let's go to SeaTac. We have a couple from SeaTac. They are phenomenal.
Officer with the iPad, who are you with now?
I think that's Mr. Legacy. Mr. Legacy?
Judge Rhea Perlman.
I think that's Mr. Legacy. Yeah, that's
Can you
Mr.
do it
Legacy.
again?
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Legacy. Good morning.
Oh,
I don't.
boy.
And what are we doing today?
Your Honor, I met with Mr. Legacy again. He's adamant that he be reevaluated for competency. I don't have a good faith argument as to why that should happen. He's indicated that he does want new counsel, and so he's here before the court to make that request.
Mr. Legacy, is that right? Do you believe that you can no longer work with Mr. Ionati?
I wanted to get another evaluation done. I don't think I'm competent to go to court.
I don't have a basis to order that. I have a professional whose opinion it is that you are competent, that you are able to proceed. And I'm denying that request. So with that, given that I'm the one who's denied it, do you want to work with Mr. Ionati? Mr. Legacy, can you please come back? Sir, can you please complete the hearing?
I can hear you.
So can you work with Mr. Ionati? Because it's me. I'm the one saying I'm not going to order a new evaluation. It's not Mr. Ionati, it's me saying that. Do you think you can work with Mr. Ionati?
I understand that, but I don't think I'm competent to go to court.
Officer Kush.
So, Mr.
So when-
Ionati,
So
pardon?
when I
Jersey. What's up, Delphi?
I'm sorry, I can't hear him at all.
when I go to court, No, don't I have to discuss what's going on with my lawyer first before I
I'm sorry, sir. I'm having a lot of trouble hearing you.
don't I have to discuss what I'm doing in court? Don't I have to discuss what I'm doing with my lawyer before?
You do not have to tell me anything about your conversations with Ms. Giannotti beyond, can you work with him?
Don't I have to discuss what I want to do with my lawyer before I talk to him?
You already have a lawyer, and it's Ms. Giannotti. So I guess I don't understand what you're asking me.
I didn't even sit down with him yet, so I don't understand how I started court already.
I think he's tried to meet with you a number of times.
Yeah, he met with me today, but we didn't talk about anything, man.
Do you want another chance to talk to him?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And so I think, Your Honor, if we could set this to next week, and I will meet with Mr. Legacy. I think it sounds like he understands now that this case is going to move forward.
What do you mean? You don't want to talk to me?
No, I will talk to you, Mr. Legacy.
Oh boy.
I've attempted to talk to you a couple of times, but now that the issue of the competency evaluation has been resolved, we can work on your case.
It's not.
I didn't get a chance to talk to you, man.
And he's going to come talk to you.
All right.
Okay. So we'll set this for Monday.
I wanted to speak with you before I proceeded with court today, man.
Your Honor, I think. So I haven't got.
So can I just plead guilty to this?
You absolutely can plead guilty. Not today, it sounds like. Or is there a way to make that happen?
I haven't gone over any paperwork with him or gone over, so.
And can I speak to you before I go to court?
Yes, so that's what I'm asking if we could, Your Honor, I think it'd probably that's what we said over,
Okay.
getting the logistics of getting
I wanted to speak with you before I proceeded with court today, man.
We did speak, Mr. Legacy. I've spoken to you a couple times now, but.
Talk to me about what you wanted to talk about, but you didn't ask me if I had any other questions. You just moved on to the next client.
I'm not gonna have this argument with you, Mr. Legacy, right now on the record.
Argument, sir. You discussed your matters, but you didn't discuss my matters, bro. You're here to represent me, man. Remember this, bro. You're not representing me. I didn't get to discuss anything with you, bro. All you did was ask me a question and you left. You didn't inform me that we're gonna be with the judge or I have court or anything, man. You asked me a question and you left.
And, Your Honor, I can go to a breakout room with Mr. Legacy if you'd like right now. If that's easier. It looks like Mr. Sanders might be ready.
And with him for a couple of minutes before I come back and talk to you. How about that? Is that okay, Your Honor?
What did you ask for?
I want to meet with my attorney.
Yeah, and he's suggesting you guys go in a break. He's suggesting you go in a breakout room. He's suggesting you go in a breakout room with him right now to talk.
All right, and then we'll meet back with you today. Right after.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
cool. Thank
Mr. Sanders, are you ready to move on with the rest of your day?
Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, there's Mr. Moore is still absent, so we would defer to the court on how
So
they
they
want to
go
move
to a
forward.
breakout room.
It's imperative that I meet with him, Your Honor.
So they go to a breakout room, and now I'm going to fast forward when they come back from the breakout room. The back to the breakout room this is the best part. Here we go.
I have since received some collateral.
And they wait for bro and his bro friend, lawyer. Here we go. He pulls a Donald Trump. Let's put it that way.
I think we're ready on Legacy. And officer, it's on mute if you could unmute him.
Oh, unmute him, please.
we please unmute the iPad with Mr. Legacy? Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Ainati.
He's renewed his request to fire me, Your Honor, and have new counsel.
Fire Mr. Giannotti, man. I don't think he's suitable. I don't think he's suitable to defend me.
You're fired.
I don't think he's, yeah, basically.
In what way?
I don't think he's fit to represent me.
In what way?
I don't know. I want him fired.
You need to give me something to go on, sir.
Well, he doesn't listen to anything I'm saying. He doesn't want to listen to anything I'm saying, so.
So one of lawyers' jobs is to tell you things that you don't want to hear. You know, if you just have a lawyer telling you the things that that you want to hear, that's not really good legal advice.
I want him fired.
Okay.
You're fired.
I will appoint Mr. Stave, allow disqualification of counsel, of course, trigger speedy trial. So today's commencement.
What's up, Craig?
And we'll set this on for Monday. I'll set this for Tuesday because I know Mr. Stave will be there.
You're fired. See ya.
Yeah, well, I'll deal with myself, man. I don't want you to fucking bring in bullshit.
The bail remains $500 and probable cause was previously found on March 30th, on March 20th, rather.
Peace out, bro. Don't want to be here. See ya.
See ya.
See ya. Okay.
Please unmute.
So then we went to the next one.
There's a little microphone at the top.
We'll maintain. Sir.
This is Keenan Samuel. 36517. This is the return on evaluation.
This case is dismissed today, but someone's going to come talk to you before you get released, okay? Just to help formulate a plan for what you'll do afterward, okay?
All right.
Thank you, sir.
No.
No, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. And
what you'll do afterward, okay?
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Just give me a preview.
And this looks like Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir. Here you go, sir.
Joshua Williams, 3A03160019.
Joshua.
This is also a return on evaluation, Your Honor.
And have the parties had a chance to review that evaluation?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have as well. Does either party take exception to it?
No.
No, Your Honor.
I don't either, and I'm going to adopt the opinion that Mr. Williams is unable to proceed under both prongs. The evaluator did opine that, and is the city seeking restoration?
No, the city does not believe it has a basis to at this time.
This case is dismissed without prejudice, but I'm ordering that he be held until no later than noon on the 24th for evaluation by DCR.
He hasn't moved.
And I didn't look yet. Does he have a history of one or more violent acts?
I don't believe so.
They're all airport cases.
All right, Mr. Williams, someone is going to come talk to you before you're released, but this case is dismissed today. Thank you.
You're up.
Stage fright on Zoom. Okay, here we go. Watch
And then
Mr.
this is
Tice.
Mr. Jason Tyler Tice, who's
Guys, just pay attention to Mr. Tice. He doesn't. It's a look says it all. Here we go.
arraigned yesterday, but he's here on 4 cases. 2 are on for review. That's 3A0023549 and 3A0157838. The other 2 are on for pretrial. It's 3A0147512 and 3A0316418. Mr. Tice is asking this court to accept the plea as charged to 2 counts of criminal trespass in the first degree. It's an agreed recommendation. They did go over the plea form. He does have a copy of it there. with him. I went over the rights he's given up, pleading guilty. I went over any immigration consequences. I believe I've satisfied my obligations under Sandoval and Padilla. We are asking the court to accept the plea this time.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. The two cases that are listed on review, I believe, were deferred sentence matters, Mr. Inati.
They were deferred sentences.
I think that's right.
And I don't believe those have
up,
technically been revoked yet, because that order for competency that was entered, the city would be requesting that be revoked, proceed to sentencing with the recommendation of the credit for time served concurrent.
I mean, if I can go into a breakout room and explain what that means to Mr. Tice, I don't think it's going to change anything based on my conversation with him, but I just want to make sure he understands.
Ready? Here we go.
Mr. Tice, you're going to get an invitation to join a breakout room. So just join on the screen.
And I'm going to check, because he probably has actually more credit than those two from the previous booking.
Best
Okay.
forward.
Mr. Tice, can you click join on the screen?
Here we go. Look at him. Ready? He comes back. What's up, Tink? Feel better.
We're ready
Feel
on that
better,
matter.
Tink. Thanks for stopping by.
Mr.
Yeah.
Tice, sorry, go ahead.
Here we go.
If you get the microphone at the top right of the screen, Mr. Tice, the top right hand corner, there's a little red microphone. No, unmute.
Whoa. Zoom.
Looks like an old-fashioned microphone with a line going through it. Red.
I'll head up there real quick and see if I can help
Dude,
him out.
it's an iPad,
Thank
bro.
you.
Yeah.
You can maybe tap on the screen, Mr. Tice, and then it might display.
I can't make this up.
I think while we're waiting, just so the court knows, we're asking to set over Benny Washington to next week. It's 3A01717005, 3A.
CTAC, you never disappoint, CTAC. Never disappoint. Between firing lawyers and seeing an iPad for the first time, you are wonderful. All right, here we go. Has anyone noticed? Has anyone noticed this? Do we see this? Look! He's flipping the bird! Stepmom's flipping the bird! Flipping the bird! You gotta love it! Thanks, Monica, for the bird flip! Alright, here we go. Let's get a little of the... Okay, let's do... We're gonna go to... Let's go to Middleton. So, he had...
Good morning, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Werner is pro se, bankruptcy, hasn't paid rent, all wrapped into one. Ticks Middleton off. Enjoy this one, guys. This was a doozy.
Good morning. Mr. Thorne, good morning.
Good morning.
This case has got a somewhat complicated history. Here's the manager, Maria. The title of the case is Sturgis Place Apartments versus Todd Werner. We had a hearing on March 17th. Mr. Werner was here by Zoom. Mr. Thornton and Ms. Matson, the manager, was here. We agree the accounting is still correct. The defendant plans to stay and pay the rent. He has a tax refund coming, and he's going to use his taxes to pay the rent. So we continued the matter until March 24th and had a second hearing. We determined at that time that he owed April's rent, or through April, he owed $1,255, $107.33 in costs, or something. I think that was renter's insurance and something. Anyway, plus court costs, we came up with $1,586.93. And we entered a judgment in that amount. It was due by April 3rd. So we have the hearing. And then Mr. Werner sends me a letter saying, here's all the stuff I didn't tell you in court. Well, that's not very helpful. That was April 9th. And so I forwarded a copy of that to Mr. Thornton and asked him if he would be available this morning for an emergency hearing regarding this matter. He has submitted a application for a writ of eviction, alleging that you have not paid the rent as we agreed on April 24th. I took some time on, March 24th. I took some time on the 17th. I took some time on the 24th. We came up with that number. Then 10 days later, you send me a letter and said, well, wait a minute. So one option was to ignore it. And the other option was to set this emergency hearing. Your contention is that you have paid the rent?
It's not a contention, Your Honor. I sent you my payments. I sent you this, so it's not a contention. It's a fact that took place. I'm not sure where.
Ms. Matson, what can you tell us? Defendant claims that he has paid the judgment amount.
Your Honor, if I could, before Ms. Matson, the facts are pretty simple. Mr. Warner's allegation of paying $1,355 towards the judgment amount is just inaccurate, wrong. When we were in court and the court entered the judgment on March 24th, Mr. Warner's payments, he had made 3 payments that total at $1,355. All 3 of those payments were applied towards those amounts before the judgment entered. The only payment made after March 24th, the judgment entry, was the $224.60 made on March 30th after the hearing, which obviously would not prevent the order of eviction. Out of those 3 payments totaling $1,355, one was received, $300 was received March 4th.
Me too, Mindy.
20 days before the hearing. The second one for $150 was received March 16th. So 8 days before the hearing, and the final that make up that $1,355, the payment of $905 was received 2 days before the hearing, March 20th. So actually, no, March 22nd. So all 3 of those payments totaling $1,355 were applied, were considered. The court found, and primarily the only rent owed prior to April that got included in that judgment was $107.33. The court, per my request, added April's rent in since it was going to come due. And that brought the judgment to the $1,586.93 total. So it's pretty simple. I don't understand why Mr. Warner applied for this emergency hearing. Our Stoughton Estates or Sturgis Place Apartments request is that the court enter our order of eviction today during this hearing so that we can complete the eviction process that Sturgis Place is entitled to. And Maria, can you vouch for the accuracy of what I've represented to the court as far as the payments?
Yes, I'm looking at his ledger right now, and everything that you stated is 100% accurate for the payments.
Werner, you did make some payments, but they went toward stuff that happened before the judgment.
March's rent.
You paid March's rent. Well, you also owed April's rent.
How can I owe future payments on a March judgment?
Because the judgment was through April 3rd. And so April's rent was going to be due before the period got there. So I added the 107.33, the 12.55. And so this has all been a shell game. And they still wish to evict you.
Okay.
Yeah, we were here. Everything that Mr. Thornton said was stated here on the record. So yeah, the writ date would have been after April 1st. So I included April's rent, and April's rent is $1,255. It's now April 14th. It has not been paid. 224.60, I think, was paid, but they're still in arrearage.
Okay, but yes, sorry. I'm sorry.
So how much is due right now, Lance?
Well, so it'd be the 1586.93 minus the 224.60 that was paid. But Sturgis Place position is we would like the order of eviction and proceed with the eviction. The time period for paying the rent has passed.
You are under the impression payments from March.
Are you waiting for a response from me?
No, I'm doing a calculation here. That's 1,326.33, which is basically April's rent, maybe a late fee or something in there and a little bit more. But they're asking for the writ of eviction, effective immediately, and to have you move out. It would have entered on April 15th. I've been sitting on it pending this hearing because of your letter, but your letter isn't accurate. The facts are not correct.
Well, I was the impression, based on having a hearing on the 17th of March for March's rent. I don't know how it is I possibly missed that April's rent was being added to a March judgment. I don't know how I missed that.
We had a hearing on April 17th. We had another one on April 24th. And March 24th. I said it clearly on the record. You owe April's rent. Your rent's expensive, $1,255 a month. It's the most expensive rent in the county. I was here, you were here, we made a record on it. You can go watch it on YouTube if you want to see what was said. I don't believe it's been deleted yet. And you didn't pay it.
Okay, well,
And they wanted to be paid, and now they just want you to move like 5 minutes from now.
okay. Well, since the last court case, I had the opportunity to speak with a lawyer, and my bankruptcy information came to light, and I had an automatic stay put on my debts March 9th of 2022. And Stoughton Place Apartments took me to court on 9/21 of 22 for arrearages, which the automatic stay prevents them from receiving. So this has come into play since our last court hearing, because I had the opportunity, because I'm 60, I got to talk to a lawyer. So that is going to play into this, because this is an illegal act.
Well, so you just get to live there without paying any rent?
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Yes,
That's not what I'm saying, Your Honor. I'm not expecting to live for free. It came to light to me. I was unaware of this before I spoke to the lawyer, that a stay was put on my account, or an automatic stay was put on all my insecure debt. And I was in contact with Stoughton State's Apartment.
Well, the problem is, then this is new debt. After your if you declare bankruptcy in 2022, it doesn't insulate you from paying rent in 2023.
No, it doesn't.
All this is post bankruptcy. And
yes. So in other words, you're telling me it's a moot point.
Yes, your bankruptcy would have wiped out.
But yet I paid her $2,900. Go ahead.
Landlord-tenant debt is sometimes uncertain in bankruptcy court. But he declared bankruptcy, okay. But then that doesn't prevent your lease from going forward, where you have to pay rent each month, and you did pay a number of months. So you were here, I was here, we were here. I made it clear on the record. I added April's rent. I sent you a copy of the judgment with the dollar amounts in it.
Correct.
You paid $224. You did not pay $1,500.
Well,
and you had to pay the entire amount, or you were subject to being evicted. And now they want you to be evicted.
Moot.
Okay, well,
Moot. Goon.
That $224 payment that they're saying that I paid for April was for March, because it was a March payment. And on the judgment, it was never checked, will or will not cause eviction, which I also included in my letter.
Yeah, acceptance of partial payment will not prevent. Yeah, I didn't check the box. Well, now it's April. You haven't paid April's rent.
Yeah, I always pay my rent the month it's due. It's, I'm getting sent to court 7 days into a month. They don't even do that to homeowners. But because I rent, I'm at the mercy of others.
Let me stop.
And when I bring up a point of an act that took place in the past, it was a known fact by others that I had filed bankruptcy, and they still went after money and received it, and they shouldn't have.
That's what you're.
Well, that is a
That's what I'm
completely
disputing.
separate, well, it doesn't. Okay, you can dispute it, but it doesn't impress me. After your bankruptcy, you were delinquent in your rent. We had a hearing, we had 2 hearings. I told you how much was due. You said, okay, thank you, I intend to pay it.
Yes.
We have the hearing, then you send me a letter raising all these issues which are not relevant. I'm not going to do an immediate writ. He's asking for it today. I'm going to give you until next Wednesday to vacate.
The amount that she
Or
paid,
subject to being evicted.
$3,000 is owed back to you.
Stop. I don't know who your legal advisor is, but she's not on camera. I can't hear her. I'm giving you several days. I will stay the writ of eviction. It's already been held since April 5th. Until Wednesday,
What do you think he was going to win tonight?
19th.
Like, really? No shot.
All right. You can, they want it immediately. They're entitled to it. You haven't paid the rent, but that's a bit draconian. But I gave you from April 5th until now. It's actually 14 more days than what would have been on.
We're not going to do anything with that.
No.
My scrolling on
You don't.
Sorry about that, guy.
No.
That was one
Now,
of my
I would suggest you may want to get some help. Legal aid is here watching this. But your defenses aren't a defense. Your bankruptcy defense is not relevant. That happened well before this action was made. And I clearly told you how much rent was due and when it was due by, and you didn't pay it. So they want to evict you. Partial payment will not prevent the writ of eviction. You got an additional 2 weeks of grace. All right, Mr. Werner. You
Judge,
need
I'm happy
find a
to
place.
speak with him in a breakout room.
All right, I'll put you in a breakout room with legal aid. You can discuss this with them.
Okay, so this was a goodie, guys. This was Grandma throwing her grandkid out.
Moment, folks.
Simpson lays it down. What
Um,
a clip
You
today.
need to bring me out of.
Loving it. Let's have some fun with
I know.
Simpson.
I can do this. I don't know where did she go. You can find her.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. Hold on one moment, folks.
This is a great clip, guys. It was like 95 degrees
All
in
right,
Jersey.
now we're on. Back up. Okay, in this, thank you. Now we are on. Darby Wright versus Darby. And ma'am, I'll try to speak up. If you don't hear me, then just raise your hand and I'll repeat it, okay?
I heard that.
Okay, all right, I'm loud enough, man. All right. Your grandmother wants you out of her house. How old are you?
Yeah, Denny.
20 years old, Your Honor.
It's so hot here today. Oh my
How long has she been asking you to leave?
Not really asked me to leave, asked me to do better, Your Honor.
What do you mean by do better? What does she mean?
Well, it's not really a video game, just I can do way better as in like get my diploma. I ain't finished school, Your Honor.
So you didn't finish school?
No, sir.
Why?
Your Honor, that's a good question.
I know it's a good question. I want an answer. Why didn't you finish school?
It's a great question.
Give me a great answer. Why didn't you finish school? Look, young man, let me just tell you right now.
I understand that.
Don't. Listen to me.
Yes, sir.
You can sit there and disrespect your grandma. You're in my house now. Do not disrespect me. If I ask you a question, you better give me an answer. You understand me?
Yes, Your Honor.
She's got to love you. I don't.
Yes, sir.
Now, why didn't you finish school?
I would say I'm a failure, Your Honor, but, you know, I would say, Your Honor, I probably around that time, our granddad had passed, and I didn't really enjoy going to school, but I still was doing it. And
What grade did you drop out?
probably like 11, Your Honor. 12, Your Honor.
You don't even know how far you got. Grandma, how long have you been raising him? Since 10? How long has he been with you?
Since he was off and on since he was 6 years old. He would go back to the other grandmother in Baltimore and then come with me. But he is in the 12th grade, and I don't know why he didn't finish. He could have finished up there at the Wade School. He could have finished. It's like 12A, something like. I mean, it's not A and B like Baltimore, but he was in the second part of the 12th grade. He could have been graduating this past summer. Last year, he could have graduated. And when I asked him questions, he would say that he didn't have to answer because he's grown.
This is one of these clips, no matter how many times you see it, it's great.
Man, where are you from? Originally?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay.
Where I was born.
Okay.
I lived in several states. Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay. That's right. You can stop there. All right? Because how long were you in Baltimore?
A few years. I mean, I was living there a couple of years and I went to college. But I went to college in Huntsville, Alabama.
What college?
Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Oakwood University now.
Okay.
And I live in different states, so I may have a different speech for every state. I don't know.
No, I'll tell you something. You said Baltimore and you said it right. I lived in Baltimore. I'm a university. That's where I got my law degree. Love that city. So, okay. Young man, you raised your hand. What do you want to say?
Your Honor, he said I was in 12th grade, but I don't think I was in 12th grade, Your Honor.
Okay. Maybe you don't understand the point.
What's up, Walter?
I respect you, Your Honor.
What?
I respect you, Your Honor, 100%.
Mama K2,
but
Shaquille.
some things that she says, Your Honor, it's like she's a smart woman, yes. But it's just not, like the words are just not right, Your Honor. Like, if my sister was here, basically, like, my sister got a great job, etc. We were literally just talking before we came here. We literally came together, Your Honor. This is not as bad as it seems, Your Honor.
What do you mean it's not as bad as it seems?
Honestly, this is my first time being in a courtroom, Your Honor. So I feel like I could put it as, like, jet lag when, like, you ask me some questions, Your Honor, because I know that you always got to respect the judge, Your Honor. And that's a fact. And I know that this is your courtroom, 100%, Your Honor. I would not lie to you. But she just now said, when she said she would ask me questions, Your Honor, and say I don't gotta ask them because I'm grown, that's so far, Your Honor.
When's the last time you had a job?
Maybe around last year, Your Honor.
Last year?
Yeah.
What time? When? When?
I don't know when, Your Honor. I stay up late. Some days I don't even look at the time. Oh my God.
Yes, ma'am.
May I speak about his jobs that he's had?
Yes, ma'am.
Please, his sister got him some jobs at, what's the one where you cook the food, not to cook, but you eat food? Subway. He worked at Subway. He worked there pretty long time, but the boss was keep cutting his days, he said. Then he worked at a place. I think it was just temporary, and he was only there about 2 weeks, and so then he didn't have that anymore. He had a job working out in the cutting grass and all that, and then one day he told me he was set up and didn't go back to work. So I don't know what that meant. He was set up, and he had a job working at the car company place where he enjoyed working as a mechanic. But the guy wanted him to wear a uniform that had been hanging in the bathroom, and he didn't want to wear the uniform because he couldn't take it home and wash it. So he didn't go back to that job. Then the job he had at the filling station, I don't know the details about that. He said he had the room, the place where they store stuff nice and stacked up nicely, and she came in there complaining and didn't like how he stacked it up nicely. And so he didn't go back to that job either. So he keeps jobs a few while when he gets about 2 paychecks, and then he didn't go back to the job. And so I started thinking about that. I said, this young man, I know he was young, and you get a lot of jobs when you're young. Maybe 4 or 5 or 6. I don't know how many jobs you get before you become mature. But I started thinking about that. And he likes to play his games on video games all day and half the night. And that was his job, doing that, playing games. So I think he enjoyed. I know that a lot of people enjoy playing those games, but they probably have a job and go to work and come and play games after work. But he didn't. He couldn't keep in his job, and he was playing those games all day. And then one last thing, this is kind of just not too nice, but I had him cutting the grass, and I liked it trimmed a certain way. He did it for a while, and he knew how to do it. But then one day, he up and tells me, I think you better get somebody else to cut the grass. Get somebody else, and I'm paying him money. I mean, not because I'm paying him to be nice for cutting his own grass and my grass. And he says, because he didn't like the way I kept telling him to do cut around that and cut around the other. I think you better get yourself somebody else. Not in a nasty way, but he didn't cut anymore, so I got somebody else to cut.
What's up, Samson?
So, and then I thought about it. But this young man here, sleeping, eating, doing everything he can do. And I got to get somebody else to cut the grass. And so, anyway, when he was 20, I have some older cousins, a gal who has 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. He's 80-some years old now. He says, you don't let no young man stay at home at the house because they get too comfortable and they won't leave. It's a difference between the girls. You can't just put them out because they're vulnerable, things can happen to them. But a young man, 20 years old, not thinking about getting out, scared, I guess he's scared to get out in life, I don't know. But 20 years old, most guys are out when they're 16 or 17, on their own. But he likes to stay home. I don't know why. He doesn't know, he don't like why he likes to stay home. And he's not mean or anything, but we know that his age, his race, and he needs to be out of the house. And a lot of the men hanging around with the ladies, doing nothing, and the ladies taking care of the man, he needs to be out of the house. and taking care of himself. We're trying to get him to go to Job Corps. He says, what do you think about Job Corps? He doesn't want to go to Job Corps. That's a place for the start, I believe. You can go to Job Corps, and they will give you a job when you get finished, and you can get skills. Once you get auto mechanic, you get skills and everything. He said, I ain't going to Job Corps.
No.
So I don't know what else he can do except go to Job Corps and learn some skills and learn how to take care of himself. And then when you leave there, they will find you a place to stay and give you a job. And I think he can go until he's 21. When he's 21, I don't think he can go anymore. After 21, they won't take you. But he's 20, he can go.
So in all of that, young man, tell me something she said that was wrong.
Your Honor, when I mentioned my granddad passed away about the jobs, I was working, literally working. Even if I put a game on, I'm still making money, etc. But about the job situation where actually I'm getting a legal job and making a set pay, like pay that's confirmed. They know we live in Michigan, Your Honor. All the warehouse jobs and all the good jobs, 20 miles out. 15 to 20 miles out. All my jobs were period for warehouse jobs that was 20 miles out, Your Honor. What it takes me to work. Yes. But when my granddad was alive, he passed now. He said, or I don't know, it was either one of them, that my job could not be more than 10 miles out. So the last job that I had, so I couldn't get no more warehouse jobs, Your Honor, because they would not take me there. Not that they would not take me there. They said my job should be 10 miles out. So I respected it. I would look for jobs that was 10 miles in. That's how I got that oil job, etc. Then after the oil job was the real job, Your Honor.
You know
I
what?
know my story sounds biased.
No. Yeah, I'm just saying. You are a grown man in your grandmother's house.
Yes, Your Honor.
Don't have a job, don't have an education. She has to come to the court. She's asked you to leave, and she has to come to court to ask you to get you out of her house.
I don't really think she asked me to leave, Your Honor.
Well, she has now.
I understand that.
So when are you getting out of your grandmother's house? Because you're not doing her any good. She has not asked anything of you that you can't do. If you put your mind to it, you can go back and get your education. If you put your mind to it, you can get a job. And if you got a job that's more than 10 miles out, that's just an excuse. Because if you got to get there and she can't drive it, you start hoofing it. You get to your job. She has not asked. Everything that she said is not anything you can't do. You just don't want to do it. So if you don't want to do it, she is just not asking that much of you.
You're right.
Oh, I know I'm right. Ma'am, let me ask you. If he did these things, would you let him stay?
I want him to leave because he needs to grow up.
Got it.
I don't want him to stay because they always compare their father, because they said I ruined their father. And if he stays in my house, he's going to say I'm ruining him. So they blame me for the men that stayed in my house, my son and him. And I'm not really, I don't mind being blamed, but I know that not to tell him the truth. But he needs to be out on his own.
Okay.
Learning some skills, learning something. And I wrote in my letter that I wrote to the court, the men in that family seem to stay home a lot. One of them has skills. He has an uncle that has automatic skills, taught him a lot about auto mechanics. Those men are always at home, always home doing nothing after they, work for a while. So we want him to be on his own, get a job, and be self-secure, not depending on somebody else. I'm 80 years old. He can't depend on me too long. His sister is 22. She's not going to take care of him. His mother is deceased a long time ago. His daddy, I don't know where my son is in Baltimore. So we want him to be self-sufficient, a young man. We're not mad at him, but I can see that he likes those video games day in and day out, talking to the people, screaming and yelling at the people who's playing games with. You think he's talking to somebody right there next to him. So that's what he likes to do, and that's terrible to do that all day. I mean, not all day, but half the day and half the night. He needs some skills to take care of himself and the family if he ever has one.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got to say?
I just want to ask her, who is we?
Excuse me?
Who is we?
I can't understand, but I can't hear you.
Who is we?
We?
Yeah.
Diamond and me, his sister. His sister has had several jobs, and she got him a job, and she works now. As she has a full-time job as a police officer. And well, the women in that family seem to keep jobs, get jobs. His uncle, who has 2 daughters, they both went to, they did, I think, Army, and one did the other. Self-sufficient. The men in that family, they don't take care of themselves very long. His uncle now, who's at home with his mother because she's sick, but I heard him say at least 10 years ago, I'll never leave my mother. And he didn't. He's taking care of her now, but you know, she's kind of sick. But they don't go out, you know, they stay home too long.
What do you want to say?
Your Honor, she said my sister. I literally was just now talking to my sister about this situation because she was in the crib when I was in court. Well, in the Zoom. And also, all the people she's comparing to, Your Honor, are drug addicts. Drug addicts. I am not no drug addict, Your Honor.
Okay.
Plus,
So,
my
look.
sister was literally just talking to me about possibly going to military, dog courts, etc. And I said I'm willing to do that. But they're on reach out because I don't have my diploma, Your Honor.
I know, because you didn't stay in school. So, when are you leaving?
That's the thing, Your Honor.
No. Maybe I'm phrasing this like this is an option.
I understand you 1,000%, Your Honor. I respect you.
I don't care whether you respect me. I ask you a question. When are you leaving?
I don't know how to answer that, Your Honor. Like,
Okay, then I'm going to give you 10 days. Maybe you don't understand this. So let me make it real clear. If I give your grandmother a judgment, which I'm going to give her, it's going to say 10 days. You're not out in 10 days? She's going to file another piece of paper with the court, call it an order of eviction or a writ. I'm going to sign it. At that point, you're on borrowed time. And on that point, still, if you don't leave, there will be sheriffs showing up to take you out. Yeah. What do you want to ask?
like she just now said, my sister has a great job, Your Honor. My sister, I don't even have to speak about my sister, but the conversation I literally just had with my sister was that my nana, she was saying my nana don't care if I do all them things, Your Honor. And I stopped doing some of the things that she said stop doing. As long as I try, well not try, I do better, get my diploma, instead of go to job course, military, etc. Nana wouldn't care. But since they are not here, and my sister has a big influence over what my nana thinks, because she's older, and like she said, she has a good job, etc. This conversation, Your Honor, went purely down the drain.
Okay. So when are you leaving?
So I got 10 days on. As you say goes.
Oh, I know.
One thing they like to make a lot of money, but they didn't have any skills to make the money. He also wants to tell the people what to do. He tells the bosses. He doesn't listen to them. He thinks he should tell them what to do. And I try to tell him, no, you don't tell bosses what to do. I ain't doing that or whatever. I don't know how he says it. But you can't tell a boss what to do when he's paying you money. I mean, that's your job. You got to do what the boss says to do. But I mean, I don't hate my grandson.
I know.
But I know I want him out of that house to do something for himself. Because I can see him, who's he going to lean on? His other grandmother is very, very ill. I'm not ill yet, but who knows when? It's just like I don't know who's going to lean on.
What do you want to say?
The stuff she's saying about my job, Your Honor, she does not know the truth about my job, Your Honor. She's going off based off what she thinks, Your Honor. A lot of stuff she's saying, it honestly don't even matter, Your Honor. Like, I lost this conversation when I walked in the door. That's a fact. Because the conversation I had with my sister that I know influences what my nana thinks is entirely different than how this conversation just now went on. Entirely different. I know I lost.
And one last thing.
Yes, ma'am.
One last thing. When we told him that we had to put him out, well, not we, but me, then he said he's going to kill himself. So I don't know why he wants to kill himself. That's a coward's way out of doing something, killing yourself. What for? You've been treated with kindness. Nobody's been beating you up in the head, killing you. We only ask you to get a job and, to go to Job Corps to get yourself together, help yourself. And he says if he's put out of the house, he's going to kill himself. So I hope he don't find him in his room dead.
Yeah.
What she said about only wants me to get a job course, etc. If I get put out, how am I going to be able to do any of that, Your Honor? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
That's going to be your own business. I mean, the problem is you think you've grown. I mean, I don't think you've grown at all. Because if you're grown, you'd have an education, you'd have a job, you'd be doing for yourself. This wouldn't be an issue because if you had to get out on your own, you could do it. Right now, the problem for you is you're going to get put out. You have nowhere to go. You haven't set yourself up for life to try to deal with it and have any skills or anything to be able to survive necessarily on your own. That's your problem. But that's not her problem. That's yours. She doesn't have to keep you there. Maybe. And I'm just listening to you today, even as you address your grandma. I addressed my grandmother the way that you did, I would be picking myself up off the floor. No, I'm done with you right now. Because see, you play this respect thing in terms of what you say, but you don't really respect her. Because if you would have, I don't even know how to say this to you, that you don't, there is no way any man I know who's living with his grandmother or his grandmother is nearby, if she needs her lawn cut, wants it cut a certain way, wouldn't just do it. She would never have to hire anybody else. Ever. You don't do that because you like it. You do that out of respect for her. She's asked you to go to school, get your diploma. Talk about liking school, doing this. It doesn't matter if you like it. You just go to school out of respect, get your diploma for yourself, but out of respect for her. What do you want to say?
Well, I got like two things, but at the same time I was going to school, I was working too. When I work a lot of hours. But also when I got paid, I would give her some money on it. And when the thing about the lawn, I would cut the lawn on her. She knows I tell her over 1,000 times if she asks me to do something, I would do it. She claims that she can't ask me to do things, but every time, for example, she got a new computer, she won't ask me to help her set the computer up, and she won't give me 2 candy bars to help. Like she had 2 candy bars sitting where I was sat at the table, just for helping her set up the computer on her, knowing that I literally control the Wi-Fi in the house. I help set up everything, put up a light bulb, do anything manly, I do, Your Honor. I paint the steps, etc., everything. Painting this picture like I would not do the manly things in the house.
I don't even know what that means. Because you can do everything.
You're right, Your Honor. But when it comes to the cutting grass, that's what I don't know. But she said, go cut the grass. I would cut the grass in a heartbeat, Your Honor. That's a fact. That's a pure fact. He taking a picture of me like, I'm the type of person.
Young man, why are we here then?
Right here because the whole thing about me getting put out, Your Honor, was probably in 2020 or like December. When I was smoking marijuana, Your Honor.
In her house?
No, I never smoked in her house, Your Honor. She could just smell it.
Was she on her were you on her property?
I mean, yes.
What? Okay, then that's a problem. If she doesn't like it,
yes.
You don't get to do it. That's just the way it works. That's just the way it works. Until you pay the mortgage, you can't say anything. I know. So that's what upsets her. Guess what? You don't get to do it. I don't understand how it all came about that you think you get to control anything in her house.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that right? Yeah.
I don't think that, Your Honor.
Oh, I think you do.
It's the image that you see that she explains, Your Honor.
No, it's also what you said. So don't try to play victim that somehow or another I had my mind made up. I don't have my mind made up. I do this every day. I listen to everybody and what they're saying. So don't try to play your little victim game with me. That all of a sudden she's saying this and everybody's just buying into whatever. I'm listening to what she's saying.
I'm not a victim. I'm a victim.
Yes, you are. You're trying to say She's saying all this bad stuff about me. She's saying this. She doesn't know the truth about this. She doesn't know the truth about this. Well, then you need to pick yourself up, put yourself someplace where you can do it. She's just mad at me because I was smoking marijuana in her house or on her property. Yes, ma'am.
When I said about him, that's the only thing about cutting the grass. He said about to find somebody else, but he usually does things I ask him to do around the house. Without mouth, he'll do things, but that's not the point. My point here is not that he doesn't do things around the house. My point is he needs to grow up on his own.
Oh, I know.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Not that he doesn't do anything around the house when he got tired of cutting the grass, but my point is he needs to be out of there on his own because he's going to stay there forever. I saw on TV years ago where this man, 40-some years old, still at home, parents had to put him out. He didn't want to leave. 40 years old. He's 16. And he doesn't, I mean, he's skinny, but he eats a lot. Uses more paper towels than the paper towel store. Everything he does, he washes his hands. His hands are cleaner than his feet. Cleaner than his mouth, I think. He washes a whole roll of paper towels. And so when he gets money sometimes, I tell him to buy some things. He gets a few bucks sometimes playing these games. So I put down he has to buy paper towels, tissue paper, because he uses more paper towels. And he uses a lot of water. So I tell him he's going to have to pay the water bill. I don't have him pay anything because he had a job and didn't make that much money. And so I didn't feel I needed to. But I mean, the point is I want him to go and be on his own. That's my real thing here. He needs to be out of there because I can't get him out. He doesn't go out of the house except to do something for me. He stays in that house 24/7. Doing nothing but playing those games half the time. But he'll do it, take out the garbage. He'll wash the dishes after a while. He'll clean up his room. But that's not the point. I want him out of there to be on his own because that's what I'm looking at. So
well,
I'm tired of folks blaming me for me and my family doing nothing. I'm the blame.
Well, you're gonna get your wish. I'm gonna grant judgment to the plaintiff, finding that there's no tribal issue. An order of eviction or writ will issue April 24th, 2023. You got 10 days, young man. Figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Ma'am, you'll have to sit out at the counter and fill out a judgment form.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
All right, everybody. I have a surprise for you tomorrow. I'm going to drop a post, members only, and then a non-member stream, member stream tomorrow. I have the case that I'm going to save for you for tomorrow. There was only 3 people watching this case when I recorded it. And I have the beginning to the end. It is beautiful. It's my weekend special to you guys. Members are going to catch another video on top of that. I'm going to have live. I usually don't go live on Saturday. I'm going to go live on Saturday. Watch for the posting. Have a good night. Kiss your loved ones. If you got a deadbeat grandson like this, kick his ass out. And you guys have been served.